WL Shuffle here like an evil villain petting my adorable cat, Echo. And we got something I was honestly not ready for. And we got some changes to a little bit to Man-at-Arms and Jester, just some fixing stuff, I guess. But we're getting Vestal tweaks as well, which is pretty crazy considering that... Sorry, Echo jumped off, but yeah. It's crazy considering that the other hero balance patches we've gotten so far, and I say other ones, I mean just the Grave Robber Highwayman one, we only got 2 characters. And then we got Man-at-Arms and Jester, so it's like, okay, the process is going to be 2 characters each time. It turns out, no. We're going to have 3 characters this time, with Vestal getting some changes. So we're going to go over the patch notes, we'll look at it in-game, and I'll give you some analysis, of course, and just show you what it looks like. I was going to say something snarky, but I will decide not to. Alright. So, Flag fixed an issue with Fester and Fester Plus. No one ever uses this, so that's probably why it took so long. Fix an issue with Wanderer, Finale, and Finale Plus. And the other Finale on Virtuoso. Stress healing when you hit a corpse. This is oddly specific. Like, who's nuking a corpse with this thing? I guess that's something that is an issue. It's supposed to be intended. Man-at-Arms, strategic withdrawal not correctly, providing death store effects if the skill missed. Again, no one really uses this move, even though it's strong as hell. I'm kind of surprised it escaped the nerf hammer, but, well, I shouldn't say it's strong as hell. It's like, unmastered, it's so unassuming that no one checks the mastered version. Then you look at the mastered version, and you're like, oh, this makes him immortal in most cases. Anyway. Clarity tooltip, cool, very good. Fixed an issue preventing Firefly and combo burn from correctly applying duration, res, piercing debuffs and buffs like this. I'm surprised it's supposed to work that way. Considering controlled burn, when you put that down, it just does its own damage. Like the initial application uses runaways modifiers, but then when it's on the enemy, it's 3 every time they take an action or whatever it is. So really surprised they changed this of all things, and I don't know if controlled burn's supposed to be the same way, but who knows. Vestal. Adjustments have been made to improve some skill synergies and make certain effects more accessible. This is almost some like contract level writing. The parties herein will be referred to as Vestal and Red Hook, or in some cases them and Party B, and just goes through and all. Anyway, I don't know how many people look at contracts, but I have to read that crap quite frequently. Anyway, Wanderer, Divine Grace threshold increased from 25 to 33. Amazing. This is what people have been wanting for a while. That's really the thing holding that move back in terms of Wanderer. Not even Wanderer, just in general, because when you put no mastery into it, 25% is such a small amount. Like, I had a Man-at-Arms where I think 13 out of his massive almost 60 HP wasn't 25%. I think it was like at 26% technically, which is so ridiculous. The base healing value reduced from 25 to 20. Grace Plus, so the master version, now gets 10 crit at 3 conviction in addition to the 10% healed. This is kind of an odd choice because the thing with Vestal and her healing is, at least compared to the first game, is she's supposed to be consistent. You know, it's like, it's always this much, and in the case of DD2, it's at this time. Her healing ranges were always tight. It was always, you know, within a couple points of each other, and people like Occultists were supposed to be the wild, woohoo, 0%, you know. At 3 conviction, at 33% HP, usually this is almost healing them to full anyway, because it's about 40%. So, you know, usually gets them up to about half. But I guess getting that crit, I don't know if it's double or 1.5 in this. I think in DD1, crit heals were doubled. But I can't remember how it works in this, because a crit hit is 50% more, or times 1.5 comparatively. So yeah. We'll have to see how this goes. 10 crits an odd choice, but I'm not against it. Hand of Light launch ranks now change from 1-2 to 1-2-3. This is perfect because when you first get Vestal, she has one or two moves she can only use up front. And then she has like Hand of Light she can use up front. We'll look later, but she can't use her entire starting 5 together at once, I believe, which is kind of weird. So hopefully this fixes that. Illumination and Illumination Plus now inflict daze. This is good. This is like the proper place to put it, because Illumination is very, very niche, and now it's more general purpose. That's nice. Bonus crit. Vestal has absolutely trash crit rate, so giving her a little something does something in the long run, but it's not immediately impactful, but it's still good. It's still good overall. Illumination can consume crit tokens. Mantra and Mantra Plus can be used from all ranks. Thank goodness. That's how, again, it should have been. Mantra benefits from Conviction. Oh, base Mantra. I don't think base Mantra did before, so now it does. And it gets the bonus healing per Conviction. And then Mantra now gains an additional 10% heal for a total 30 at 3. Mantra Plus heal bonus at 2 convictions been increased from 10 to 20, so your mastery doesn't feel as wasted. And tooltip format is consistent. Chaplain. This is my favorite Vestal path. This is your frontline, I'm a tank, look at me Vestal. And so they've updated this description. Now is a 60% chance to receive additional conviction when being crit. Right now, she only gets conviction for being hits, but if she gets crit, she can get an extra one. And this is relevant because Chaplain is able to kind of charge up conviction faster, because you can put her, in rank 2 that gets hit a lot, and then guard someone else, and she can, get hit 2 or 3 times a round if there's enough actions up. And her conviction can generate very quickly, which is, very cool. And she gets like passive move resist and stun resist with it, so that's even better. So this just helps her be a little more consistent to have high conviction, and I'm okay with that. Ministrations is now a pass skill. Ranks change from 3-4 to 1-2. I love this. Everyone's been wanting the rank 2 ministrations for a while, and now we're up to 1 and 2. And we'll have to see how Chaplain plays in rank 1, because at that point, I don't even know if you have enough skills. Like I guess you get convictions, bash, you lose comfort, you get ministrations and guard, so there's still stuff to do. Mantra and Mantra Plus no longer require the target has guard. I'm assuming they just need the consecration. Mantra is now a self-target skill, so it can heal herself. Oh, that's why. I think it's so she can always heal herself if she needs to without having guard, which is good. Mantra now gains 10% healed for a total of 20% at 2. Heals 2 stress at 3 convictions. So this got a little stronger with access to Vestal, Man-at-Arms, Reynold, and I can't remember if Duelist Forces guard, but we have Bounty Hunter and stuff like that in items now, like the Warlord helmet. And so having guard on 2 people isn't that hard to do. And so having, a couple guards up and being able to heal possibly 3 people consistently with this is pretty cool. But it's going to be hard to heal 3 people consistently with 2 guards, because all the guards might get soaked up immediately. Still nice. And then I like that it should heal her all the time, so this really makes her a lot more sturdy. The plus base heal reduced by 5%. That's, to be expected. Oh, okay, so they just offloaded it. So it's no longer in the base heal, it's with conviction. So they're really making sure you have conviction. Mantra will additionally target any heroes with guard, applying Mantra effects. Okay, so she doesn't even have to be guarding them, so someone else can be guarding. Very cool. Let's see, updated. Okay, so we're gonna go to Confessor. Modified the language on a couple things, on the tokens and all that. Hand of Light. Ranks change from 1-2 to 2-3, specifically mid-rank Vestal. I'm kind of liking that. And light damage increased from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3. I think the current version of this doesn't scale, or like the old version on retail. It would just be like 1 to 2, and then you upgrade and it's still 1 to 2. And that was a bit odd. Judgment damage slightly increased. This is because Confessor doesn't burn on Judgment, so being able to get a little bit of extra damage is welcome. Crit increased, very nice. Judgment weak tokens at 2 convictions increased from 1 to 2. Amazing. Judgment now also inflicts daze at 3 convictions, so she can possibly set up her own stun, or if there's more dazes, you have more chances to get the free stun. Actually, Judgment Plus now inflicts stun at 3 conviction. This is massive. Like, I'm really excited for the Chaplain buffs. I think Confessor came out the winner though. Like, being able to stun every couple turns. Confessor charges up conviction per turn though, so it's not like Seraph or Chaplain where she can get a bunch, or like at least 2 each turn. Yeah. Mantra in all ranks. Cooldown increased from 0 to 3. Okay, now targets any hero with a negative token. Removes 2 negative tokens at 2 conviction. Now gains 10% healed for a total 20% at 3 conviction. Removes 3 negative tokens at 2 conviction on Mantra Plus, and then heal goes up on Plus. Trinkets, Icon of Light. 2 regen dealt while in rank 4 has been changed to +1 regen dealt. This is a buff for Chaplain, who likes to be up front, or in like 2, you know. Or +2 regen dealt when the flame is maxed. This is kind of bait. For one, you can never use this on Hateful Pyre. Not Hateful Pyre, Despairing Flare, because the cap is 50. This turns off when you go to a regen modifier that lowers max flame, because it's like Strong Wind or whatever. And keeping 100 flame in a fight, you're gonna lose it going to the fight. So you have to have items or skills, if that ever happens, you know, in the future, when we get skills that might give us Torch. Then you can get it then. Otherwise, you have to carry a stockpile of glimmers. So I don't think the +2 regen is realistic consistently. Like, if you want to save some glimmers and then throw down like 3 at a boss fight so you have max flame, sure. Mountain bosses, some, if not all of them, at least 2 mountain bosses have ways to lower flame. So you can't even keep it maxed out there. So this was nice if it happens. I really think it's bait. I'm not going to go for it personally, unless I really just see easy avenues to it. Profane Scroll reworked. Gives an extra 1 to 2 damage. Just flat. That's pretty cool. If flame is less than half, 30% stun, res, piercing. That's for like Confessor, because she gets the daze and stun. Also, I think Wanderer gets the daze illumination, so I'm assuming Chaplain gets that too. I don't know if you can use Chaplain in yeah, wait, can you use illumination in 2? We'll have to look. I think you can. But yeah. So just bonus damage, very cool. Res Pierce, fine. Self, ally behind, Hand of Light skills. When you use Hand of Light, you guard them for 2, gain on miss 25 stress. This is actually, Profane Scroll in the first game was a frontline Vestal item. This is still kind of following that. I don't know what other stun synergy she gets besides illumination, but this is like good, you know. Let's be real. This is under half flame, yet res piercing. This really it matters to Confessor. It's not really going to matter to anyone else, because you know you got low flame, you got a lot of stuff to do on your turns. I really doubt you're gonna, you know, be trying to spam days on stuff. It might work though. But this is really good. Hand of Light gives the person behind you 2 guard. So this is a really efficient way to generate guard where you're still, you know, putting out damage with Hand of Light, which is nice. Cardinal Entropic Star. Launch ranks increased or adjusted from 4 to 3 to 4. So this means Cardinal can use it in the middle, not just exclusively in the back. And in most battlefield positions available to a size 2 monster, reduces the frequency of Hollow Vessel as a result. So this is like a soft nerf to Hollow Vessel. They're not going directly after it yet. But, I mean, it's going to come to a head at some point, right? I don't know. Because Hollow Vessel is problematic because it has no cooldown. So, Cardinal can just do it 2, 3, 4 times in a row if it really wants. And that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of stress. Granted, you only fight it a couple times in the run, but it's just not fun. Because there's no... Like, it's too big to burst Cardinal down, and then there's Worship that brings it back up in life. So it's very hard to, you know, blow it up in 2 turns when it has help. And so you're really just wasting resources doing that. Like, you have to ignore Cardinal in those matches. You have to kill the smaller enemies so they don't give it exaltation. So there's still going to be a lot of Hollow Vessel that you get hit by during a combat. Like, with Cardinal, it's probably like a 6-round fight most of the time, and you're gonna get hit by Hollow Vessel like 3 or 4 times, and that sucks. Entropic Star now has a cooldown of 1, so we just made it so Entropic Star is more usable, but then we also gave it a cooldown, meaning it's gonna Hollow Vessel still. Entropic Star now inflicts a weighted selection of either blind, weak, or daze instead of vuln. This is not good. This is actually, like, Cardinal, don't get it twisted, Cardinal got buffed, alright? It looks like a nerf to Hollow Vessel, but between the cooldown and the blind and the daze making you go after Cardinal, miss Cardinal potentially, do less damage to Cardinal to finish it off, it sticks around longer. So that's more Hollow Vessels coming at you. I hate this. Evangelist, Nocturnal Commune now grants 1 death armor if Evangelist is on death's door. I don't necessarily like this. This enemy already does. This enemy is already pretty freaking sturdy, and it can get healed by the altar, for instance, and come off death's door to get death armor that way. And it's just really annoying to fight because it's just, you know, buff, get crit, hit your front 2, bleed, burn, or bleed, blind, stress, 8 to 11 damage if it's ordained. Like, I'm very familiar with this. And just that over and over, just buff swing, buff swing, buff swing. And sometimes they can hit 1 target, but most of the time they hit 2. Hatchet Men. Finishing blow has been adjusted to provide value to the act of guarding the skill's targets. So what this is talking about is there is a very, very small, probably unintended thing that happens where enemies actually have 2 versions of well, how does it work? Basically, when they use a move that consumes combo, it's supposed to gain bonus effects, like bonus damage, bonus crit rate, bonus stress, bonus DOT, right? When you guard that unit, the other unit doesn't have mark or combo, ideally. And when it swings into the guarded target, it gets the upgraded version and swings that into the person guarding instead of the guarded person losing all the mark effect or combo effects because they're not the one comboed. I hope that makes sense, but basically it's kind of like cheating your guard by hitting the other person with the ramped up version that it shouldn't be doing. At least that's how I read this. And this was a weird thing to learn about until, you know, I think Ranger looked at the code and talked about it, so kind of crazy. Finishing blow damage reduced from 6 to 7 to 3 to 5. This was supposed to be the base version. Yeah, and then finishing blow damage increased by 100% if the target has combo. So this is, if you're guarding someone, you always get hit by this. Now, if you're guarding someone and you're not comboed, you get hit by this, right? I hope that makes more sense. Lair bosses. Leviathan. Breath of the Sea no longer removes dodge token from targets alongside its guaranteed hit. So this is a monster now losing rules that the player gets. So if the player bypasses a token somehow, like if they're, you know, if you have something that penetrates block, it takes block with it, even though they don't get the damage lowered. And so for Leviathan, it would be you dodge, you get hit by Breath of the Sea, which is a guaranteed hit, and it still takes your dodge tokens. It's that way for both players, and now they're taking it away from Leviathan, which small change, very small, very, very small quality of life thing, but I guess we'll take it. The issue in the Leviathan fight is how much damage you have to do to like the entire boss, because no other boss requires that much damage. Because like if Leviathan summons 2 hands, it's already got as much effective HP as the general, plus it's blinding and making it harder to hit the thing. So it's like the effective damage you have to do in a normal Leviathan fight is actually close to like 240. And that is kind of not fun. You know, the low estimate's probably like 210. But between, you know, blind missing and people getting dragged under and overkill, all that stuff, like, it comes out to a little closer to like mid 200. No other boss does that, you know, so not to that level anyway. So I'd like to see Leviathan's damage get lowered a bit, because this thing hits like a truck the whole time. It's definitely the hardest region boss. Eyes of the Deep and Eye of the Deep, these are different moves. I forget quite how these operate. I know Eyes of the Deep is the one that marks you to get grabbed, but I forget what this is. Since it has such a similar name, no longer remove dodge from targets hit alongside guaranteed hits. So that's the other thing too. This boss has so many guaranteed hits. Like defenses, blinding the boss, getting dodge, you know, which is easier to get than block in a lot of cases, just don't matter. So really, instead of making the guaranteed hits a bit kinder to the player, how about you just lower the damage? But that, I guess that's the thing for another time. And then these are fixes for some of the other stuff they did. Just random bug fixes. Alright. So let's take a look at the game. And we'll see what these changes look like for Vestal. Okay, so the first one with Vestal is Divine Grace on Wanderer. So 33 looks really nice. And then getting the extra crit's fine. I don't really think this is going to be enough, or at least it kind of waters down the mastered version a bit. And the reason is the move already has a cooldown of 2. Mastering it and having to use it in a pinch and healing 30% is kind of weak. And the cooldown doesn't really matter. I kind of wish the threshold went up on the master version to like 50. And you could take away the crit. Like, I'd rather it be that. And the reason is you are almost not using this move unless something goes completely awry without conviction. So that means that it doesn't matter that this thing has a 2-turn cooldown or that it can only heal at 33%, which is a nice change, but the move has like a soft cooldown because normally you're waiting for conviction to get more value out of it. So it's a nice change, it's a good change, it's a necessary change, but I don't think it's as strong as it's going to seem on paper, because they kind of remove some of the healing, put it other places, but you're already waiting for conviction anyway and you can't spam this, so it's like, I don't know. What's the other one? Let's see. Hand of Light changed to 1, 2, 3. So this is base Vestal. And I believe before, yeah, so you know, you can only use 4 skills when you first got her. You could either use Hand of Light or Judgment. Obviously Judgment's better. And now you can use everything from rank 3, which is a nice just thing to change for the flow. Makes the character less clunky. We like that. Illumination and the plus version now inflict daze. Cool. The upgraded version still has that dodge denial for the most part. I don't know what word to use there, but this is a good move now. It was okay before. Like I said, it was just a bit niche, but now it's got some like just general use application. You can just throw it out for the daze. Like, it's not a dead button if they're not dodging or have stealth. Now you can just throw it out to daze stuff, and that's really cool. Mantra can be used from all ranks. Fantastic. So just a nice change. And we still got the reconviction triggers the the thing. So this gets more efficient. This is a good upgrade. And let's see, is there anything else? Not for this. Okay. So we'll look at Confessor. The winner of this update by far, I would say. So, Hand of Light. Keep messing it up. Still the cleave. Hits the front too. And applies weak. You can put her in rank 3 because Confessor kind of had the same issue where if you wanted to use Hand of Light and Judgment for tokens, like all the negative tokens, guess what? You couldn't because they're in different ranks. And so now we're able to do that. And this move looks really good. Like that is much better than the previous version. The only thing I would say is the weakened tokens are great. I am not going to turn them down at all. It's better for bosses because the way weakened interacts with ordainment, if you haven't heard this explained before, is weakened is minus 50% damage, ordainment's plus 40, so you're effectively getting only the 10% damage nerf. And that doesn't feel good. It's kind of a waste of a token, waste of an action. But now having the ability to, you know, get a couple right out the gates, get a stun on top of it, the 2 Volnan stuff is really, really, really good. So I like how this ended up going. Would definitely like to see ordainment rework because that's the only thing holding this back from being like very, very strong, I would say. And the fact that Vestal only gets 1 conviction per turn on this path. So it's a methodical use every time. The crit went up, so that's nice. Mantra can be used from all ranks. We saw this. Removes negative tokens. You usually don't have more than like 2 or 3. So this is essentially a full like token purge. Me personally, I would rather that this just removes negative tokens base. Like 2 negative tokens base, 3 negative tokens mastery, and that's the target amount. It might be kind of strong, but as a 3-turn cooldown, and most enemies that can throw negative tokens are going to throw more at you anyway. So this would be a really nice thing to have. Especially like Leviathan, right? You're not going to have 2 conviction. Well, I guess it'd be like turn 4, something like that, turn 3. So you have 2 conviction, Leviathan comes up, hits you, you know, with something, then you cleanse all that. But yeah, I'd rather the heal be moved around because you still have Grace, you still have Divine Comfort, you still have like Guard, you have all this token mitigation for damage, right? Like you have Weaken, and removing their positives is some, you know, back form of mitigation. So I would rather this just cleanse tokens at base. That's what makes Indiscriminate Science so strong, is the heal gets nutty because of the scaling, which is ridiculous, but it's the fact that it removes negative tokens so freaking efficiently, and we don't have too much of that yet, but we're getting there. And that's all. Yeah, Mantra got pretty loaded in terms of that. So let's see, last one, Chaplain. Definitely my favorite, as I said. Hand of Light damage increased. Ooh, hold up. Okay, to match Wander. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, so 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, and someone next to you gets block, you get strength and block. This is a pretty solid move now because it does a little more damage, but you get that token efficiency. So if you end up spamming this, you're getting the strength on top and block every single turn. I'd like the crit to go up by 5. I don't think it's asking too much, but you know, we're already getting a lot, so we'll see how it plays out. Administrations usable in 1 and 2. I was happy with it being usable in 2, but this is still good. So yeah, your front Vestal that's not, what is it, not running or not in 2. So if you're in rank 1, like this is pretty much the loadout. You can use Illumination, or you can use a Consec or Mantra. So, but these are like your core skills right here. This is your frontline setup, and it's not bad. You still have a conviction dump. You still have, you know, token generation and some support. But you're going to have to bring someone else to heal the team if you put her in 1. If you put her in 2, you have comfort, but you should still bring someone else just in case. Administrations, Mantra. Okay. So Mantra is very, very simple. Wait, does it only... It only gets the guarded effect when mastered? Is that a bug? Like, I'm reading the notes here. No. It's only the mastered version. Oh, I don't know about that, man. Still doesn't seem great. Because... I mean, this is your only thing to do with Conviction besides Mace Bash up front. So... it's either you spend Conviction on Mace Bash to make sure your damage goes through, which is kind of important. Another thing for Mace Bash, wish the Conviction effects were flip, but whatever. So, having that damage go through is pretty important on this path. But also you don't ignore any, like, weak tokens and stuff, so... still not that great. This is starting to look more meme tier. I'm a little sad. We'll have to play it, obviously. It might be better than it looks, but right now it's looking... like, it got one amazing change, and then they just... like, made this much harder to get big value from, so... I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. And I think that's it for the changes. Interestingly enough, Seraph, no changes. Everyone probably thinks that this path is in a good spot. It got some passive changes from, like, the Wanderer buffs. But yeah, so. It's a long one. About 30 minutes to read all this. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I got some criticisms, but don't get it twisted. There's still a lot of praise in here. Very happy with how things are progressing. No one thought they were going to get to Vestal this soon, because she and Flagellant and then the DLC heroes were on the new pass system initially. So we didn't think they'd come back to Vestal for a long time, but they did. And there are going to be plenty of people out there saying, oh, she was fine before. She was not. You want proof of that? Look at the workshop. She has the most reworks, at least at the time of this filming, than any other character. Like, there's a couple for Hellion. I think there's like 1 or 2 by Lux for Crusader Duelist, and then there's like 4 Vestal reworks. Okay, she needed it. Don't get it twisted. Don't let anyone tell you different. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Now support the channel. There's links in the box below to do so. And definitely more content on the way in the coming weeks. So thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.